Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon to you.
I'd like us to
Afternoon to you.
to begin our today's session. And I want us to boost it and request one of you to begin us with a word of prayer.
Let's pray.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we are before thy throne this afternoon, giving you thanks for the gift of this day. As we start our end of session meeting, dear God, we pray that you may be with us. How we pray for our facilitators from Kemi, all other participants, dear Father, we pray for thy guidance. This is our humble prayer of faith. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Madam Nancy, for leading us in a word of prayer. And I hope you have a nice day.
Yes.
We had a nice day. Yes, sir. We had a nice day.
Thank you. I want us to go straight to the business of the day. Today we are going to begin by reflecting on what we learned yesterday. Yesterday we went through 2 units. That is effective resource management and learners and teachers welfare. Now I want you to go to use the Zoom chat. And I want you to tell us any insight or strategy from yesterday's session that you are planning to implement in your school so that you can bring changes or you can drive changes in your school. You go to the Zoom chat, write a strategy or any insight that you learned from yesterday's sessions that you think or you intend to implement in your school so that you can bring about a transformation, you can bring changes in your school. Use the Zoom chat. And give us your insight. And kindly let us, all of us, because we were in class yesterday, anything you learned yesterday that you think you are going to implement in your school to bring about changes. I'm waiting for your response. Think of something that you took from Nancy. Onini is talking about innovative. You could have explained further. What is this innovative thing that you think specific that you are going to implement in your school so that you are going to bring changes? James Moy is talking about to supervise the use of resources utilization well. Okay. I believe that one came from the first session when we talk about effective resource management, because we said that we need to utilize our resources prudently so that we can be able to realize the learning outcome. Margaret Botte, promote psychosocial support for learners, teachers, and staff. Margaret will promote psychosocial support for learners and teachers and staff. That is, the session that was the second session. Lorraine, enhancing social skill among my teachers. Lorraine will enhance social skills among teachers and learners. Those are 4 responses so far. So I'm expecting more than 30 responses because each and every one of us, we are supposed to have learned something, because we are not just learning for the sake of it. Esther Kimura, giving of psychosocial support for all in school. Nancy is talking of process of tendering that was well presented by Henry, although so Nancy will adopt the tendering process that was presented by Henry Rowe. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. I believe if you have not been using the tendering process, remember tendering is about the process and procedure. It's not about the end product. The law is clear. You use the procedure because it is. If you don't use the procedure, you might find yourself facing lawsuits when it comes to procurement. Joseph, efficient resource utilization and the realization of education outcome. So Joseph will ensure that if resources are utilized efficiently. Lesho Makudi, to follow the procurement process when building grade 9 classroom. Please make sure that in every expenditure or in any time you are taking a project, make sure that you follow the procurement process. And you can only follow that if you have the Procurement Act of 2015 and the Regulation of 2020 in your school. If you don't have, kindly purchase one. You buy the Act and you buy its regulation, both of them. Daniel, prudent resource management available in our school. So Daniel, you prudently utilize resources in the school. Midka Ogu, to support teachers with integration of ICT in teaching and learning. Yes, ICT as a resource. And Ferry Washi, I will focus on psychosocial activities in school to improve well-being of learner. There's evidence that you learned yesterday. And I believe this thing you are putting on the shed, you are going to do them. Because when we come to your school, we need to see the proof of this thing that you are writing here. There is a security issue. Make budget every time we are procuring good. Make sure that you have a budget. Leonard Taram, Adnan teaching staff. I believe there is a Leonard Taram, form welfare for teachers and staff, and then you have finished it here, Adnan teaching staff. So your Leonard US is complete now. You form you'll form welfare for teachers and for teachers and teaching staff. That is Leonard. I don't know, you'll form what for teachers and teaching staff. There's something you have said here, form welfare. I wish you could clarify further on, and which is this thing that you are going to form welfare for teachers and teaching staff. Penina, make sure that there is an active guidance and counseling in school for both learners and teachers. Thank you, Penina, for that. Those are some of the practical things that came out from yesterday's session. A fantastic, prudent use of available resources. But you can go further and break down this prudent use. How are you going to ensure that there is prudent use? Is it by ensuring that there is a budget? Anytime you are procuring, there is committees in place. and you are able to undertake the stores management, you are going to consider risk. You can go further and break down what is this prudence of use of resources. Say that you are going to make sure that there is accounting document. Jonah, engage all stakeholders in mobilization and use of resources. That is very key when it comes to resources, and especially when you are mobilizing resources for school project, you need to engage all the stakeholders to support you. Thank you, Jonah. Offer Arori to work on effective communication between teaching and non-teaching staff and learners. Offer will make sure that there is effective communication when it comes to between teaching and non-teaching staff and learners. Then David Waithaka, record all this receipt and payment in an appropriate book of account, cash book ledger cities. Thank you, Waithaka, for that. Now you have now started to break down effective use of resources. One, if you record all the receipts and payment, that is income and expenditure, you are going to ensure that resources are not, there is prudent utilization of resources and they are accounted for. Then Asman Nyakeri, motivate my staff and learners to upgrade school standard. Thank you, Asman. That most of us, we forget about motivation. Motivation is a key when it comes to realizing the continuous improvement in your school. You need to motivate all your staff in your school. So do not forget the motivation of staff and learners if you want that sustained continuous improvement in your school. Offer, I already have added another point, to avoid unethical practices while undertaking KPIL program in school. Thank you. Offer, make sure that we remember we talked about there is a group that dealt with unethical practices. And Aloli will make sure that there will be no unethical practice. Remember the unethical practice we talked about yesterday? Paying for false invoices, paying for good that was not delivered, colluding with the suppliers, all those things should not be had in your school, all interfering with procurement process. Now, I'm happy because these are all the things that we learned yesterday. And they are coming from both the first session and the second session. And from point of seeing it is as if everybody have put down a point, and there's a good indication that you are attentive, and also there's a good indication that you also participated during the breakout rooms. So thank you very much for all those who have responded, and I'm expecting you to be keen this afternoon as we embark on our third session, that is Unit 6, that we are going to be taken through by Madam Joyce. Madam Joyce, karibu.
Thank you, Mr. Karemi. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To you, Madam Joyce.
Mimi siwasikii. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, madam.
Good afternoon.
Fungua waniongelesha.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Technology, you well?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
You went to church?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
And now
We
you are
went to
here,
church.
although you came a bit late.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, we'll continue. So you want to look at the last unit. Which one is this?
Pastors.
Ni unit gani tunasoma leo? Tuna review leo?
Unit
It's about
6.
institutional
Wow.
governance.
Institutional governance.
Unit 6.
Today at least
Unit
today nimesikia tuko chonjo. So now I want you to tell me what you learned from it. We gave you some content, isn't it?
Yes.
Take away what did you really understand about the institutional governance? What did you learn about it?
I learned about the quality, the inter-based quality.
Quality of education. Mwingine?
Yes,
Okay, James, endelea, sorry.
in that in our institutions, we need to check what is happening, whether we are following the what we are calling the implementation of the CBC, for example.
Exactly. Mwingine?
Yes.
Yeah, how many of us here? 37, yeah. James, thank you. Mwingine? Mumesoma hii unit?
Ensure implementation of the policy of education is in place in schools.
Legal and policy framework. Asante sana. Can you give me one? Give me one of those policies. Yeah, teach.
I'm trying to remember one.
But at least you have tried. There was something
if I can try one.
Please do Nani Fantas.
We have this one we call Vision 2063. 2063. 2063.
2060?
63.
The African agenda, yeah?
Yes, Africa agenda about education, 2063.
All right, thank you. Mwingine, what else have you learned from that unit?
That is universal education for all.
EFA.
I'm saying education for all, universal education for all.
Sawa. Thank you. Mwingine?
Nancy.
Yes, Nancy, wanini?
I learned about JS leadership roles and functions. And realized that as a leader, one plays a very important role in maintaining positive school culture and also provision of quality education. Yes, madam.
Okay, good. Mwingine? Thank you, Nancy. Asman, you want to talk to me?
Yes. Yeah, we also talked about the Vision 2030 and how the Constitution of Kenya also supports education. We also talked about is it SDGs?
No, SDG goal number.
Yes.
Yeah, and
we also talked about how the Basic Education Act and the Child Act.
And we are saying all these policy and legal frameworks, they support the implementation of
how they support education and how they're supposed to promote education currently in Kenya.
Why? I want to ask one question. Why do you think we have these legal and policy frameworks in education? Why do you think we have them?
I think is how maybe the way they're supposed to promote, maybe how you're supposed to get the resources, how you're supposed also to, education being maybe a basic thing for the child. Various factors need to be considered before maybe to facilitate the education of this child.
Yes.
Now, maybe the issue of the constitution. How does it protect the child? How all children are supposed to go to school?
I also think the guiding factors, such that as school readers, we are supposed to be knowledgeable on those legal framework.
Yes. So in other words, what you are trying to say is they are supposed or they are expected to help us to be able to implement. They are kind of guidelines, isn't it?
Yes.
And you remember what you say, we don't just do things anyhowly. Because the moment you do things anyhowly, you end up being what? being sued. Sidio? Or you can also use the
Yes.
same policies to sue. You kweli?
Yes.
Kabisa.
Thank you. We are somewhere. Now let me share something. Nataka kushare. Mnaniona?
Tunakuona.
Asante.
Tunaona.
Mnaniona. Good. Let me just put it in.
James, I'm saying we change the SIM card.
No. Mute. Tuanze kazi. So, we are there, aren't we?
We are there.
And therefore, we have
Yes.
discussed briefly of what this unit entails. And those are the areas. You have told me we have legal and policy framework provisions for JS, isn't it? So there are guidelines that will be able to guide us in the implementation of JS. And then Madam Nancy talked about the leadership competencies for management of JS. And hakuna mtu aliniambia mambo ya ABQA and data management. And then good governance practices. Please go to those notes so that we can be able now to interact with the content. And we have the first activity, the legal and policy framework. Mr. Kamau, what are we expected to do?
I'm connecting you to Slido, and that's where you shall be putting your answers. Let me allow everyone now to join. I do check from the chat box. I've posted the Slido. Yes,
no,
yes. No. There's a message in the chat, meeting chat, in the chat.
Or go for chat.
Yes, from the chat, yeah. Open from please. Everyone, and then in chat, I've posted it is posted there. You just open, then respond. Huh?
Haya, tuendelee. So can you mention those legal and policy frameworks? Someone has already, is it James who has already started as of? Hello? You can hear me? Where are the responses? James Mwai is talking about SDG goal number. Hey. James umechanganya kila kitu. SDG and Vision 2030 are two different policies. So we have the SDG and Vision 2030. Thank you, James. Tuendelee. So what these documents are telling us is that as we implement the JS, there's no one who can take us to court because it is anchored on law. And one of the documents that is supporting this is Sustainable Development Goal number 4 on quality education. Why do we have the JS? So we go back to the CBC about nurturing every talent of these learners. Tuendelee. Soma hiyo. I'm told some of us are using the chat. Hebu tusomee hiyo.
Daniel Njenga has written Basic Education Curriculum Framework on Implementation of JS.
Wow, thank you. I can see Arori, Basic Education Act of 2013, Vision 2030. Why do you have the TSC Act 2012? Children's Act of 2022, Basic Education Regulations of 2015, and Basic Education Regulations of 2015 summarize the Education Act so that the educators can be able to implement what is in the various components of the Basic Education Act of 2013. Vision 2030, Constitution of Kenya, SDG goal number 4. I'm loving this. Hey, Nancy, which are these policies? Child protection, that is the one we have the Education, the Children's Act. Health and safety. Ephantas, can you explain further what is this presidential task force? Yes, Continental Education Strategy for Africa is the one someone told us about, the 2063. Yes. Yes, let's listen. Let Nicole read for us what is in the chat.
Betty Langat has mentioned that Right to Education, Basic Education Act 2015. Henry Olo has written Acts of Parliament. Michael Ojango has written Inclusive Education. Patrick and Stanley are both saying TSC Acts.
Yeah, because that one is the one that gives us the guidelines on how you're supposed to operate as teachers, professionalism. Thank you. Condele, how many responses do you have? 18. And how many? 15 is still low. Please write something. At least, Chief, 2023, that is good. And that is why you're being told to register all your learners so that they can be able to benefit. Out of 15 out of, okay, how many are there?
In total. 40.
I'm still expecting more responses. Tuandike. Bogwa talks of Children Act, Basic Education Act of 2013, TSC Act of 2012. Memaliza. Nenda. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Tuendelee. So Margaret Botte, Basic Education Act of 2013, Africa Agenda of 2063. We are saying these are the legal and policy frameworks that are guiding the implementation of CBC JS. Yes, NEC Act, because it has to do with assessment. Majority Constitution of Kenya 2010, quality education and rights of children. So none of the others should be left behind.
Eight.
We have 8 minutes, so continue giving us responses. For those who are joining us now, we are looking at the implementation of JS, and we are saying it's guided by several legal and policy frameworks In other words, the implementation is anchored on law. That's what we are saying. And there are various documents that usually guide us or give us guidelines on how to implement CBC in JS. So as you can see on screen, we are still getting more responses from you. This Basic Education Act. This one now gives the guidelines of the administration. That is why it has the JS committee. And you're also going to look at the functions of it. Wow. Fantastic. Yeah. Please give me the specific laws or policies. Okay, finally, children act. Yeah, we must protect these learners. Fantasy, give me a lot of this here. Please make sure you give me the specific legal and policy frameworks. Yes? Talk to me. Yes, it's talking about the presidential working party on education reform. Yeah, this is all that gives us the guidelines on how we should be able to implement CBC in JS. When the light, we have how many minutes, Nicole? 6 more minutes to go. Please give me your responses. Menyamaza. Endelea. How many responses are this now? 20? 20. I still need about 20 more people to write something. The legal and policy frameworks that are guiding the implementation of CBC in JS, so that you not end up being sued. So what you're trying to say is that everything we do in this sector is anchored on law. And that is the reason we have several various legal and policy frameworks to be able to give us the guidelines on how we are supposed to operate in this sector. And in this case, we are looking at how, or the various legal and policy frameworks that guide the implementation of CBC in JS. That's what we are looking at. Many of you have also, half of you have given me the various legal and policy frameworks, starting from the Presidential Working Party, the Children's Act of 2022. You have talked about the Basic Education Act, the TSC Act of 2012 that made TSC a constitution office and also provides the framework of the professionalism of the teachers. You have the African international frameworks like the Africa Agenda of 2063, the CHESA of 2016 to 2025. And then we have narrowed down the national policies in this country. So I need 2-3 more before we close. Two, 3 more responses before we close. Chat, kuna kitu. You can also put it in the chat. If you're not in Slido.
Joseph Waino is saying education sector policy on special needs education.
Exactly. Special needs, because we must take care of all the learners.
Samson and Stanley are both saying the Children Act 2012.
Yeah, it has also been revised. We also have one for 2022. Thank you.
Caroline says that the persons with disability into brackets 2003.
2003 is also very old. We have one for 2018. Yeah, it's okay. Yes.
Caroline says the NESSP 2018 to 2012.
Please tell us more about that.
Jacinta has mentioned the Presidential Working Party.
Oh, it's lesser. Next step, which year?
2018 to 2022.
We have a current one, 2023 to 2027. Thank you. Please, we are learning.
Daniel has mentioned Labor and Employment Acts.
That one guides the employment of the non-subordinate staff. Thank you.
Caroline says Education for All policy.
Education?
For all policy.
Education for all policy. Basic Education Act. All right. KICD, definitely. Thank you for that, although you are not giving us the year.
Daniel has
mentioned very critical for the implementation of CBC JS.
Daniel has mentioned Procurement and Disposal Act.
Yes, Procurement and Disposal Act, and I think Mr. Karemi took you through that yesterday, 2015, is that so? Yes, I can see now here we have Michael Janko is talking about the ICT policy of 2021. Please note that. And then Data Protection Act of 2019. Thank you. Procurement, Public Procurement and Disposal Act. Patrick, thank you. Year is 2015.
Christopher has mentioned Basic Education Regulation 2015.
Basic Education Regulations. These ones mostly they summarize some of those frameworks that we have so that the educators can be able to implement without challenges. Asante sana. We are done? Thank you, team. So can we clap for ourselves? We pull this down. Thank you. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourselves. Take me back. Activity, and please note what you're talking about is the legal and policy frameworks. We are saying that everything we do in this sector is guided by law. The moment we don't follow law, we'll end up being sued by parents because of doing things anyhowly. And that is why these legal and policy frameworks, they give us guidelines on how we are supposed to operate in this sector. So thank you for that. So we need to go to the next one. Activity 2, we are expected to use a Zoom chat. Identify the functions of JES Management Committee. Before even we start looking at the functions of the JES, can you give me the composition of these members? Right, kwa chat, composition, how many are they? They are representatives from which fields? Use your chat.
There are 7.
Good, there are 7. So can you?
Yes, madam.
Use your chat and
yes.
give me their representation.
Yes.
Where are they coming from? Where are they coming from? The 7 members.
So I'll write.
Yeah.
So I'll write.
Yeah, right. All right. Before you go to their functions, you must know who they are. And as you write their representation, I also want you to tell me whether you know all of them. Because there's no way you can work with a committee that you don't know. Because you must work as a team. Mnaniandikia? Nicole, mnanisomea what they are writing. Muniambia, there are 7 from where? Do you have their numbers? Do you know all of them? Use your chat.
Rachel Makundi has mentioned JS principal. She has also mentioned teacher representative.
Teacher representative. Please don't repeat what she has given. She has given us 2, the head of the institution, who is the secretary to that committee, and has also told us the teacher's representative. So I need 5 more.
Oprah has mentioned BOMJS, deputy head teacher.
You're too fast.
BOMJS, JSS.
Who is that?
From Nancy.
Deputy head
Nancy
teacher.
Walini, who is the BOM representative?
Number 1, a person from special needs, madam.
Thank you. Special needs, asante sana. Good. Those are 3 now. Give me the 4th one. So we have said 1, the BOM secretary is the head. We have talked about number 2, the teacher's representative. Number 3, tumesema ni special needs. The 4th one?
Caroline. Carol.
Yes. Caroline.
BOM chair who is supposed to be a member.
Thank you. Another
teacher.
Because we have schools where the county chair of the whole comprehensive school is also the BOM chair of
A teacher representing the teachers, yes, teachers.
Please use your chat.
Sub-county director of education.
Wait, Caroline.
No. A teacher representing teachers.
A sub-county director should come as a member of the areas. Is sent by the to represent. I'm looking for the 7 members who are recognized by law.
The teacher representing.
Hello, Caroline.
The teacher. Hello.
Yes, Japheth.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello. Yes, I'm saying. A teacher representing the JS teachers.
Yes, exactly. So now let us first stop there and mention, and we go through what you have just mentioned. The first one is the BOM secretary. We are in agreement. It is the principal of the school. Number 2, you have told me is a teacher's representative, isn't it? The 3rd one, someone has talked about the special needs representative and tumesema hivyo. The 4th one, it is the BOM chair of the whole school, the comprehensive school. But someone has emphasized that one comes in as a member, not the chair of this committee. Are we in agreement?
Not the chair.
Yes. So can you give the other 3? The other 3?
Then we have.
Yes.
We have 1 member from the board.
1 member
from the board. That is from the sponsor.
Good. Now you are talking. 1 member from the sponsor representative. That is 5. Give me the other 2.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Give me the other 2. The other 2.
Carol.
Yes.
We also have a parent representative.
Wow. Hey.
Hello.
Parents or community representative. Thank you. The last one.
Yes.
1 more. 1 more. Mary Otuori. Can you check whether there's someone who has written what we have not discussed? Mary Otuori, your hand is up. Persons with disability, isn't it? Okay. So there are the 7. 1 you have said is a chair, the BM secretary, and it's compulsory to have her or him there. Then you have talked about the BM chair of the comprehensive school, but it's just a member in this team. You have talked about the parents community representative as number 3. You have also talked about the sponsor. You have talked about the persons with disability. Kuna mmoja hatuja mention the special what? A special interest group, isn't it? who is an appointee of the CEB. Now, at least we know them. Can we now go to activity 2 and put it in your chart? Now, identify the functions of this committee. Okay, these 7 members. Muniambie what their functions in your school. What are they expected to do? Is their work just to come for the meetings and rubber stamp or sign documents? What is their role? And you also remember this is a committee that is very special. Because when you compare the functions of this committee and what is in the primary one, this one, even we have signatories in the bank. Is that true? Ukweli. It is a powerful committee that is operating before we get a BOM in a comprehensive school. We have signatories. They can be able to withdraw money from the bank. They can be able to make recommendations and the principles on them. But remember, there's one thing they must do. Whatever they do must be. Munaongea sasa. Oh yes, munipatie na kafansa kanisa hili. Sasa kuna watu wako kwingine. Tafadhali tuingie class. Tuingie class tafadhali.
Ndio hii
breakdown.
Sasa hii
what is now breakdown? Nani anaongea? Nani anaongea mambo ya breakdown? Please come back to class. Now give me the functions. Nicole, are they writing? Yes, read.
Okay. So Daniel says that mobilization of resources to monitor and approve the JS strategic supporting that is James Mwai.
Can you first stop there? Their key mandate is resource mobilization. And I usually insist on this. Si kutoa kale kadogo kako kwa shule. They must look for funds through their own families, through the politicians. Are we together? They must look for funds. So that is their key. By the way, it is their key mandate. Thank you very much. Resource mobilization. Si kuja kwa mikutano alafu wanaketi tu mnawapatia chai na mandazi na kuku. They must look for resources. Si kila wakati serikali nisaidie. Tuendelee? Yes, Prispa.
Ngetich says to deliberate on JSS matters, which is to be approved by full board. Sylvester says
to
deliberate on JSS matters, which is to be approved by the full board.
So that is a very important or a key point, that whatever you discuss, even if you are saying it's a special committee that has powers, you must ensure that whatever you discuss, whatever you agree on, you must take it to the full board for validation. Thank you.
Sylvester Wesonga tells us oversees and manage the school funds from the government.
I love that point, but I'm a bit concerned because I'm told some of you take you to the bank to withdraw money. Or some of you, they want to look at the documents, the bank accounts, the books of accounts. That one, it is only the principal of the school and the school auditor who can be able to go through those documents. So ladies and gentlemen, you must ensure that this committee operates with the reports that you generate as the CEO of the school.
And Esther says oversee the JS development projects. Samson says ensure there is prudent use of JS funds.
Let's stop there. You have said they must ensure. Look, the first point.
Oversee the JS development project.
Oversee. So we expect them to come to school and camp there as you construct classes. That is what some of them are doing. And you're saying no. Are we together? So let them work with their reports. We don't expect them to come to school any day they feel like coming. They must consult you. Then we have always insisted they must work with the reports. that you generate. And that is why I always say, make sure you are giving them comprehensive reports to avoid mistrust. The next one.
Monitor implementation of JS projects. It has been repeated. Laureen says, promoting the best interest of the institution and ensuring smooth running of the school activities. Meshak says, resource mobilization. Asman says, budgeting for the JS funds, lobbying for the school resources.
Let's stop there. How do they do the budgets? Are they the ones who come to school to budget? I want to find out, hey, do they come to school and they tell you now, can you sit down and prepare the budgets?
No, they don't participate in any the budget preparation.
Mr. Karemi,
they don't participate in any budget preparation.
What is expected?
Now, when it comes to budget, if you read Financial Management Act, it is the head of institution who prepare the budget but forward the budget to committee for approval. Yes, read the act to understand the role of accounting officer, who is the head of institution of junior school. So they approve, they do not do the budget. Thank you.
Is it clear now? Thank you.
Okay, so we'll read the ones that have not been repeated. Strategic planning, policy implementation.
Stop there. Strategic planning. Do they come to school also and sit down with you and you come up with a strategic plan?
They may only review and approve.
Exactly. So who is supposed to develop the strategic plan? And remember what I said when I came to Nakuru, that if you don't have a strategic plan, you're like what? A chicken without a head. You go round. So strategic plan is a blueprint of the school, isn't it? So yes, the user is the one who's supposed to develop that. Who is the user here?
The principal and his stakeholders.
And the team in the school, isn't it?
Yes.
Asante, but remember that document must go to them for approval, Cindy. And from there, it must also be taken to the BOM of the whole school, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Adele?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Caroline tells us academic oversight and quality assurance.
That is a very critical area, oversight, and that is their role, oversight. And that is why you must be able to differentiate between the management and administration. Because management is the oversight, where now all of them fall apart from the secretary. The other one is now where you implement what they have given. If they have looked for funds, it is now the principal to ensure that those funds are utilized as expected. And you make sure you generate reports on how you have utilized those resources. Are we together? Thank you. They give you the policies, the objectives, they develop all that, but they give you to implement. And that is the arm of the administration. Asante, tuendelee. The ones that are not repeated. Students' welfare and discipline. And remember, they are supposed, how many minutes? I have 2 minutes to go. May I explain that briefly on the discipline? Do we expect them to come to school and check on what the teachers and the learners are doing?
No, a report is represented to them during BOM meetings.
So you have to be very careful, because some of you are giving them your mandate. You are giving them it's like they are the administrators. They come to the office and you find them seated in your office. There are even some instances where they are talking to the learners without consulting the principal of the school. That one should not happen. Everything must go through you. Are we together? Even when you want to come up with the days when you'll have meetings, it's a principal and the chair who are supposed to sit down and consult when they should have those meetings. Because I understand there are some who are demanding for meetings from every corner. How many meetings by then should you have in a year? How many?
At least three.
Exactly.
At least three.
And that is why we are also insisting that even if you want to have a fourth one, is when you have an emergency in the school has burned. Or maybe a watchman has been killed. But this thing of asking for meetings right, left, so that they can be able to get those small allowances is not allowed. So let us stick to the law. Asanteni sana. I think I'm done. One more.
So Ashak says liaise with the TSC to ensure the school has enough teachers.
Exactly. That is true. Now you are sub-county director of the TSC sub-county director, so that you can be able to get enough teachers. Is that so?
Yes.
Any questions so far? That is why I need to come and train you on BOM. That you can be
as soon as possible, madam.
I'm coming. I'll talk to Victoria Muriri.
We shall appreciate, madam.
Thank you very much. You want to go to the last question? I'm lost. It's technology. Ni technology inalisumbua. Gojeni kidogo. You know, I'm analog.
We shall catch up with it.
Sasa niko kwa slide. Haya, nimerudi. What are the last question? Tuko hapa. There are 5 thematic areas, isn't it? Leadership and management, curriculum. Look at, I hope you can see my screen. Can you? Curriculum, organization and implementation, physical facilities and infrastructure. We have learners' welfare and community involvement. It is true there are 5 thematic areas. But what are the indicators that when the quality assurance team comes to your school and they want to check whether you are implementing the first thematic area on leadership and management, what do they look for? If they want to find out whether you are implementing the second thematic area on curriculum organization and implementation, what will they be looking for? If they want to look at whether you are implementing the third thematic area on physical facilities and infrastructure, wataenda wapi kuangalia hizo facilities and infrastructure? If they want to know whether you're implementing the fourth thematic area, because they come to your schools, unajua hii ni Mwakenya, and I think we told you that. So can you take advantage of this Mwakenya that we have given you? They will not come and tell you that you are looking at the 5 thematic areas. Hapana. Wao wanakuja tu, wanawaambia tu tupelekeni classes, wanawaambia tu we want to look at the professional documents of the learners, wanawaambia ebu mtupeleke toilets, wanawaambia mtupeleke classrooms, wanawaambia can you look at the books of accounts. So we are now giving you a Mwakenya that the quality assurance and standards officers, when they are coming to your schools, they concentrate on these 5 thematic areas. And we have given you notes with all the indicators or the areas they look at in each and every thematic area. For example, if it's on community involvement, how do you ensure that your school has community, your school has some relations with the community on board? And that is why Mr. Kamau is going to put you in 5 rooms. Number 1 is already done, where now we identify these 5 areas, and now he's going to put you in those 5. Now, ukijikuta kwa community involvement or room number 5, we expect you to get a chair to moderate the discussion and the secretary to pick your points to be able to answer number B. Provide relevant examples for each component. For example, if you find yourself in room 1, if you find yourself in room 1, thematic area number 1, leadership and management. If I come to your school and I want to check on the various components or what you are doing as far as this thematic area is concerned, what will I be looking for? Tulikuwa tunasema, do you have a vision? Do you have a mission? Do you have, those kind of things. I think they're in your notes. So can you be able to tell us those examples? If the CASO comes to your school and wants to check on the matic number 2, ni examples gani atakuwa anaangalia? Physical facilities and infrastructure. And remember, in this case, we are talking about those learners who are abled differently and those ones who are regular learners. So what kind of, may I call them activities or components or things that you have done to be able to achieve thematic area number 4? I want to know whether you are keen on learners' welfare. What areas will I be looking at? If I want to be keen to check whether you are keen on community and involvement, what areas will I be looking for? And now with this Mwakenya, when those castles come to your school, be able to have done the best you can and score over 100% because you already have a Mwakenya. Asanteni. So come out 5 groups. So please note, leadership and management is room 1. You find yourself there, discuss that. Room 2, curriculum, organization and implementation. Room 3, we have physical facilities and infrastructure. Room 4, we have learners' welfare. And room 5, we have community involvement. How many minutes, Nicole, when they get into the rooms before they come back to the plenary? You only have 15 minutes. So immediately you get those rooms, can you please get your secretary and you start working so that you can be able to finish up within those 15 minutes. So that when you come back now to the preliminary, please, let's stop looking for you. If you know you are the secretary of a group, you just give us the points. And then we also open the floor to everyone so that we can have some additions. Asanteni, God bless you. See you after 15 minutes. Hii ni ya nani? Hebu isitoe. Sawa. Leo kazi yangu imekuwa ngumu. Watu hawaongei jameni. Leo mmekataa kuongea kabisa.
Tulikuwa cubicles tunarudi.
Na venye tumeongea.
Let me tell you, ile group nimekuwa ya 3. I just nimeongea nilikuwa wawili.
Na group ya runners welfare venye tumeongea.
Hii ya 3. Imeanguka mtihani.
Na runners
were just there. They were not talking.
Learners
venye tumeongea.
Then it looks like it's so it's only group 3 where I had members who are not serious. It's only Rahab who was talking, imagine.
Which group is that? It's about what? Talking about what?
Physical infrastructure and facilities. Hawakuongea. Anyway,
Poleni.
Thank you.
Nawapatia pole zetu. Challenges with that.
I tell you, this adult learning is hard.
Hakukuwa chai kwa room.
Diona shida inaendelea.
Inawezekana hata simu zao ni zile za others.
Others.
So let us go to activity 3. And remember, after the presentation, you are going to now have some additions from you. Sio funds ni mingi hapa. Tuanze na leo nitaanza na room 5, community involvement. who was the secretary? Room 5? Indicators of community involvement.
Alice was the secretary.
Alice Obiero. Alice. Hii ni lazima uwe wa kwanza. Unajua yesterday ulikuwa wa mwisho. Alice, ongea na mimi.
Naongea na wewe.
Thank you.
Unanisikia?
Kabisa.
Unanisikia?
Nakusikia.
Okay, the question was, identify the key focus areas for IBQA component. Then in our group,
that is number room 5.
Room 5, that is community involvement.
Thank you.
So we were identifying the key focus areas for IBQA component. So we came up with only 2. That is use of diverse assessment methods, then providing timely and constructive feedback to the learners, that is after the assessment.
What are these?
Yes.
Community involvement. What are the indicators to show that your school has a relationship with the community?
Oh.
That is what we are looking for, the indicators that if the council comes to the school or any other person from the education or even the
we have the minutes, that is the academic clinic minutes, the list of the parents, the AGMs, and then the minutes. If we have the files, the e-portfolio files, we can show that. Then we have the disciplinary book. Sometimes we can also, if a parent has been called, he can be made to write something on that book or to sign.
Now, Alice, I want you to get out of that box.
Yes.
I want to come to your school.
Correct.
Are you there now?
Yes.
And I want to see whether there is a school community relationship in that school.
Yes.
Which element will I be looking for?
Let that go to the group. I think we didn't get it correct.
Anyway, I'll open the link. Those
One
are the
of
points
them is the invitation letters.
Parents,
we invite them for the meetings. We have invitation letters.
That is one. Give me another one.
We also have the visitors book where they sign.
That is one thing. We are saying involvement of parents. It's one. So there's a relationship between the school and the community. Give me another point.
Sharing of facilities.
Now you are talking.
We can also invite them to give motivational talks.
Tuendelee. 1 minute hapana na nimalize. Hiyo ni group ya kwanza. Tuendelee. Nao tunawasaidia. Tuendelee.
We get the alumni to assist in funding the project.
Alumni.
We also involve the TSC, Ministry of Education officers, consulting with them. Spiritual leaders to guide us on spiritual matters and also discipline issues.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Mwingine aongeze one more point. Employment of the locals in your schools. You are giving them employment.
Sure.
Yeah, it is part of that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you clap for room 5? Room 5, let's clap for them. They did something. All right, thank you.
Don't laugh at us, please.
I'm not, Alice, I'm not.
Because the same group, again, they're the ones who have contributed the correct answer.
Thank you. It's the same group, eh?
Yes.
Thank you. Let us go. Thank you. Let's go to room 4.
Technology issues.
By the way, in this school, in this community involvement, mnatumia laboratories za wapi?
Za secondary.
Kuna shule
Exactly,
ziko na
part of
kuna
community.
shule wako nazo.
Exactly, isn't it? Why you are
Yes.
sharing resources? It is part
Sure.
of community involvement. Yeah, thank you. Let us go to room 4. Learners welfare. Who was the secretary? Room 4. Caroline.
Please.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Talk to me.
So our question on if we didn't get it very well, but we I can tell we were told to rate when quality assurance come to school, would be check on to ensure that you are dealing well with the learners' welfare. So one is the check on the physical health. That is the meals, how the pupils are being fed, and whether they're getting enough, hand washing points. And then you have clean water, supplements, and PE equipment, those kind of things. They check on that. 2, they also check on infrastructure. That is the sitting condition.
Umeenda na room 3. Just concentrate on these other number 4.
Hello?
Wacha physical infrastructure. Wacha iende na room 3.
Okay, we have the academic support. They also check on how you're teaching and how well your pupils are motivated.
Now go to motivation, because the pedagogy will go to number 2, curriculum organization and implementation. Endelea.
Then there's the safety, that is environment free from bullying, harassment, and discrimination.
Good.
They also check on learners support programs, e.g. the students' government, how well they were formed, the clubs, the societies, clubs and societies. And then we have learners' welfare. They check on PPI program, how it is managed, the clubs, guidance and counseling.
Oh, thank you. Let's clap for room 4. A well done job.
Thank you so much.
We now open the floor to any other addition.
They also check on the teacher-learner ratio.
Teacher-learner ratio. It's true. Tuendelee. Although that, it's okay. Tuendelee. Any other addition?
It's another addition. They invite public health officers for monitoring programs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well done. Any other person who wants to add? Well done, room 4. Let us clap for them. Hey, let me go to my room. Room 3. Rahab, najua tulibaki mimi na wewe. Labda now members can contribute here in the plenary. Tuendelee. Rahab. Hata Rahab amepotea. Langat. Madam Langat. Oi, ameenda wapi? Okay, tutamtafuta. Let's go to room 2.
Yes, room 2. It's about curriculum organization and implementation. And there has to be evidence of whether the stakeholders, that is administration and the teachers, can be able to define curriculum organization. Because I think this is the most important business in a school, supported by all the others. So there are key elements of curriculum organization. And there must be also evidence of curriculum designs in the school, because these are the guiding items based on the subject centered, organizational, learner-centered, and then problem-centered. These are all found in the curriculum designs. and the teachers may not be able to implement the curriculum implementation without curriculum design. So there must be evidence of curriculum designs in the school. There is curriculum content and scope. Are the teachers able to plan their work depending with the scope that is given in the curriculum design? There must also be well-defined learning objectives and outcomes. We have instructional resources and materials which must be locally available. So are the teachers able to use the locally available materials when implementing the curriculum? There's also the element of integration, where various components are integrated into the main learning areas. The competency-based curriculum organization, we have where we have different levels of age-appropriate levels. On curriculum implementation itself, we must have evidence of teacher preparedness. This is where documents, professional documents are evident or are checked and approved before they are taken for use in classrooms by the teachers. So the teacher prepares all the professional documents starting from the schemes, the lesson plans, the records of work covered and all that. We also want to see whether there is teacher preparedness or teacher professional development. There's instructional strategies and pedagogies. Are the teachers able to, are they available? Availability of key resources like timetables and schedules that are used in school. There's also integration of ICT gadgets. Is the school able to avail ICT resources and infrastructure?
Wow.
We have no, we are not yet. We have resource allocation and utilization. Is there evidence of the school availing resources, learning resources in the school, and how are they utilized? And then after the implementation, is there evidence of assessment and evaluation based on maybe summative and formative or competency-based assessments? Are there records showing that that was done?
Wow.
There is also monitoring and feedback from the stakeholders. What could be done to make curriculum implementation better or more effective? This will include internal evaluations and external evaluations. This is where now the CASOs come in to give a feedback of what they have found. And then lastly, we have maybe an evaluation of challenges and maybe challenges that are faced during the curriculum implementation, e.g. resistance to change. There are stakeholders that are not willing to.
Wait, hiyo ni group 2 imefanya hiyo kazi yote. Can we clap for them? Let's clap for them. Well done, team. Well done, well done. But I don't even know what you are going to add in that. When we mention
Madam,
about
that group 2
assessment tools, when we mention about timetables, when we mention about professional documents, nimesikia mambo ya digital devices, nimesikia mambo ya availability of textbooks. Ebu muongeze 1 point or 2. Thank you, team.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Asante.
Any point? The other members, anything you want to add?
We gave all.
You have done no. There's something I want you to add. Do you have supervision structures? For example, the heads of departments? You have individualized learning.
Madam Joyce.
Will you mention?
We accept we left IEPs.
Okay.
But under the docket of monitoring and evaluation, supervision comes in there.
Okay, Sawa. Thank you, Tim. Learning resources for special needs. Muongeze your point. Thank you, Tim. Well done. Let me go to Betty Langati. Merudi. Anyway, let me go to room 1.
Okay, in room 1, we were dealing with the leadership and management. That is now the evidence to show that there is leadership and management in a school. And we had the following foundations. One is to have functional departments in our school, whereby we have the HODs. Also having a clear strategic plan for the school.
Wow.
Having a clear vision, a clear mission and motto in a school. Having effective communication, whereby there are good channels of communication.
Now, how will I be able to check on that one, that you have those channels? Can you give me evidence?
Okay, where we have the letters that we write to the parents.
Good.
We also have the SMS messages or the WhatsApp communication.
You have answered my question. Continue.
Then also having operational BOM, whereby we have the minutes that are updated. Having a positive school climate, that is conducive learning environment, whereby the school is learner-friendly. Utilization of reports, that is we have the academic reports we have the feedback for the reports. Use of the school government learners, that is the school government learners in decision making. Also having a good duty rota for the way the duties is conducted in a school. Having the registration of a school, whereby we have the title deeds, we have the allotment letters. And finally, having the disclosure of information, how the information is disclosed in that school.
Wow. Let us start on one. Thank you. That was done well. Thank you, Tim. Any addition?
Thank you.
I've done about vision, mission, I've heard about strategic plans, I've heard about the motors, I've heard about the committees that are operational, I've heard about the channels of communication, etc. Thank you. Any addition? Any addition to that? Look us out. You okay? So let us clap for that group. Thank you. Last but not least, my group. Betty, okay.
Yes.
You're back.
Yeah.
Give us the points.
Okay, we were discussing school facilities and infrastructure.
And it is like it was
so
me.
We saw that they will look at the physical facilities like toilets. They will check on the number, the ratio for the girls and the boys, and also for the supporting staff and the teachers. They will also look at the source of water, whether it's tap or collected water from the bowl. They will also look at the classroom, whether they are organized, are wrapping and broken chairs. That cannot cause access in the class. The rate is supposed to be there. They will also look at the crowd, the playground. They should be level so that they can avoid accident. And in the special needs, they will see whether you have ramps. And when the pits are green, they should be having adaptive in the toilet that assist the learners. They will also look at the preparatories.
whether it is a kitchen, fencing. If you are having a gate, this is what we discussed.
Can you imagine Langat was all alone in the room? She's the only one who did that. So can you clap for her?
Yeah.
Let's clap for her. Well done. Well done. The others refused to talk. They even remained muted. Akina Wesonga. Aya. Any addition to that one? Any addition? Please clap for Madam Langat. She was all alone in that room, and you can see the kind of work she has done. Classrooms, toilets, library, kitchen, dining hall, furniture, perimeter, and everything. Playground, save water. Thank you. Yes, Stanley. Stanley?
Oh, I was clapping for that lady alone.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Yatish. Thank you. Well done, Langat, for a well done job. Now, let us go to the extended learning activity. Now, all those points that you have given, you are expected to pick one of the thematic areas. And now, with all that you have given me, if it's about classrooms, then you must be able now to give us evidence. How are your classes? To show that you are able to implement that thematic area. If you have, you have paid curriculum organization and implementation. Are there timetables for your teachers? So that those are now the evidences. Assessment tools that your teachers are using. Now those are your evidences. Professional documents of your teachers. Individualized education program. Then you need to pick a few. Alafu upige picha, IEP, upige picha, utume. Adequacy of textbooks. Please go to those classes. If the ratio is 1:1 or 1:3, then you can be able to do that. So that is why we are telling you down there, upload the image. Upload the image of all these discussions. Tuko sawa? So now in the extended activities, all those points that you have given me, then you look for evidences to show that you are able to implement those thematic areas. And you have been told to just pick one. If you pick one for the learner's welfare, you must tell us what you are doing in that thematic area. Tuko sawa? And then upload the evidence. And the question, if you have picked the first one on leadership and management, you upload the vision, you upload the mission, you upload the motto, you upload the strategic, maybe the top cover of the strategic plan, because maybe you cannot upload everything. The top page of your strategic plan. If I remember Madame told us about the channels of communication, how you communicate to your parents, you take a screenshot of those messages and post them there. Are we together? A functional JES committee. You take a screenshot of all the members and you post it. That is how you are able to achieve the first thematic area. Na nimemaliza kazi yangu. Kuna swali? Question?
Hakuna question, tunangoja graduation.
Unangoja graduation, hii inakuja. Sawa. So me, I'm done. And I want to give Rispa the chance now to take us through the next session. Sawa. Asanteni, God bless you.
God bless you too.
Asante.
God bless you too.
Asante.
Amen.
Amina.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Don't tell her bye. We have not finished. She's not going.
Bye. Thank you.
Najua tunaweza sema bye alafu muende. Don't go. Madam Joyce is still here. He's not going, so don't tell her bye. We are still here for the next few minutes. So I hope you're doing well. And I want us to...
well.
Yes, thank you. It's so good to see you. And the numbers have improved. So we are doing well. So I want us to look up on something but I don't want you to open your app. So I just want you to follow through my app. Okay. So this is what I want us to look at. I want us to look at the reflective journal. Remember what we said about the reflective journal when we were together. The other time that we were together, you can remember what we said about the reflective journal. We said the reflective journal is going to be assessed. So it is accessible and you're going to find it on your course index. If you remember how we locate our course index, if you can see where my cursor is, so where there is the units are listed and every other thing that you do on the app. So at the end point, end of course survey, you'll see level 1 satisfaction, another survey which is locked. We are going to open it after this. And then there's the most significant change form, and then there's the reflective. Remember what we said. We want you to reflect on the journey that you have taken through ESL for JS. What has been your learning experience? So you can select on one area that you feel stood out for you. Remember, the reflective journal is very short. 2 questions, 250 words for both, so that is only 500 words. So it needs to be straight to the point, very clear, very precise. Don't beat about the bush. If you've selected learner support, learners and teacher welfare, reflect on that. What has been your learning journey and what have you learned? What are you improving? What has improved in your school and such kind of a thing? So the questions to the journal are: describe your personal learning journey. And remember what you said. When we say describe your personal learning journey, don't say we came for closure. Mr. Karimi took us through the reflection for day 1. And then Madam Joyce took us through institutional governance. And then Rivka took us through reflective journal and the meeting was over. So we want a very precise learning journey with the impact that ESL for JS has been making in your school and in your administration style. So highlight your key insights from the course. That is what we'll be looking for. The other question, number 2, is describe a practical situation where you applied the knowledge and the skills acquired from ESL for JS. So what we are saying here is, as I just said, pick up on one area where you think stood out for you, and then you can describe how that went during how you've been able to apply the knowledge and the skills that you've gained in your day-to-day work, in your day-to-day administration of your school. And that is going to be very short, 500 words. Okay? Remember, we only have 2 weeks to complete the reflective journal and the most significant change story. Okay? So for us, we should be done by around 15th, 14th of this month, we should be done. And then after that, we will expect now the team to retreat, the team of trainers at Kemi to retreat and go do the evaluation, the assessment, and you will be able to receive your grades and your certificates. The certificates should be ready by December, and we'll be able to communicate to you about that. The other important thing I want to mention is the most significant change story. So this is a simple form that has only 3 questions. So, okay. So the technique, the most significant change form, it is, as we said, it is only meant for us to see the participatory monitoring and evaluation of this course by using stories. So from key participants, and you're the key participants. So in ESL for JS, the course that you have been undertaking, we want you to do a nice story of what has been the impact. And it is not more than 500 words. Remember, short, clear, precise, straight to the point. So this form, will be focusing on 3 areas. 1, over the past 6 months that you've been learning this course, tell us what has been the most significant change that took place in your school because you took part in ESL for JS. Remember, do not talk about other changes that have happened because maybe you have involved people like other institutions, Red Cross, Plan International, other stakeholders. Only tell us the most significant change that has taken place in relation to ESL for JS. The other thing is going to be a follow-up to question number 1. Why do you consider that change very significant to you? So you can tell us why you consider it very significant, or you can highlight the impact that it has had. So that's the reason why it's very significant to you. And the other thing is, how, if at all, has your participation in the effective school leadership for JS contributed to this? Your participation, meeting the other school leaders and having every other thing, how has it been effective? How have you contributed? Don't just be, you came for the ESL for JS and you have not participated, you have not impacted someone's health, maybe administration style, you've not learned a new thing. So tell us how your participation in ESL for JS has contributed to that significant change in your institution. Now, important things to note. Please ensure you have completed writing the most significant change from all the 3 questions before you upload, because once you upload it, you cannot edit. Itakuwa imeenda hivyo. Sio kama e-portfolio that we go back and we are able to remove and write again, upload. So just know that once you write it, once you upload it, you're not able to edit it. So make sure that you have completed everything, you have counter-checked everything before you're able to upload it. Swali, do we have a question? Niulizeni swali. Do we have a question? Question, please.
Ella?
Yes.
Ella?
Yes, Ronald.
Mine, I had a challenge with the Wi-Fi, and I'm back. So I would wish maybe if you through our WhatsApp you can write those questions so that I may be able to capture.
Oh, the questions are on the LMS, on the Learning app. You see where you get your course index, where all the units are listed from unit 1 to unit 6. After you get to end of course survey, then the other thing is going to be most significant change form and then the reflective journal. So immediately we finish this, those two areas are going to be unlocked for you to proceed. So you're going to find them on the e-learning app. Sawa sawa. Okay. But in case you have any challenge, please you can shout it out on the WhatsApp group and we will be able to assist you. Now,
thank you.
My people, we are coming to the end of our review today. So I want us to prepare ourselves to have a group photo. Remember we had a group photo in Nakuru. We will have a group photo here. Tutakuwa na group photo hapa. Saa hii tu. So if you are in an area where you are able to, please put on your camera. We have a group photo. And then I tell you what we are going to do next is we will proceed for a very short break. We are going to proceed for a very short break. And then actually before you can use the break to join the closure meeting. So the closing ceremony. The closing ceremony is going to be graced by Kemi CEO and VVOB Country Program Manager. So you don't want to miss the closing ceremony after all the efforts that you've done in learning. And just to say that I am so proud of you. You have done so well in the self-paced learning. So you also deserve a clap. Lakini, do you remember how to put on our cameras? Please put on our cameras so that we can have a group photo. Yes, nimeanza kuwaona. Wow. Nimeanza kuwaona, Madam Pauline. Hi, I can see you. Yes, Asman, nakuona. So, if you can, jamani, if you can. Michael, I can see you. Lauren, Caro, Henry, Philip. Nice. Mr. Coril, Eliud Joroge. Yes, I see all of you. Ronald umekuja. Mary ndio huyo amekuja. And Mutai, he's here. So if you can, Henry Olo amefika pia. John, he's here. Ephantas has come. Jacinta, Madam Jacinta is here. So I think we are doing well. So yes, we are ready. Yes, Madam Alice, your hand is up.
I can't see the camera.
Now, why are you laughing at Madam Alice? Nani huyu anacheka sasa?
Honestly,
the camera is next to the microphone. Inakaka video hivi. Video. Yes, Mr. Daniel.
Are we done?
No, just a minute. Okay. I am being informed